Hello, good morning. This is your daily outlook for Thursday, the 22nd of December. The euro declined as a greater than expected funding via the European Central Bank's long-term refinancing operation, LTRO, raised concerns. The market consensus was concentrated at around 310 billion euros, but banks called for 489 billion euros, a figure that raised concerns. Versus the US dollar, the single currency dropped to 130.35 from 130.85. Against the Swiss franc, the euro rose to 122.06 from 121.91. The Swiss parliament had earlier voted against proposals to introduce negative interest rates. Versus the British pound, the single currency fell to 0.8320 from 0.8351. It had earlier recorded an 11-month low at 0.8302. The US dollar produced gains as investors' risk aversion returned following the LTRO funding. Versus the Swiss franc, the US dollar rose to 0.9363 from 0.9315. Against the Japanese yen, the greenback moved up to 78.07 from 77.84. Non-Japanese investors bought a net 2.66 trillion yen in short-term government securities last week. This is the second biggest purchase after the 2.98 trillion yen record in August, showing Japan becoming the favoured destination for global funds. Investors are expected to monitor the release of the US growth aid and labour data at 13:30 GMT. The Australian dollar slid to 1.0068 from 1.0075 against the US dollar. It reached 1.0218 but suffered thereafter as risk sentiment was reversed following the ECB's funding report. The British pound opened and closed at 156.67 versus the US dollar, having ranged between 156.47 and 157.74. The release of Britain's third quarter GDP will capture traders' attention. Looking at commodities, we saw oil prices rose to $98.67 a barrel from $97.21. Gold fell to $1,612.78 an ounce from $1,618.30, and silver moved down to $29.29 an ounce from $29.55. Let's take a look at what the currencies are doing this morning. The euro-dollar pivot point is at 131 with a preference to enter into short positions at 131. The dollar-yen pivot point is at 77.80 with a preference to enter into long positions at 77.80. The Aussie dollar pivot point is at 100.30 with a preference to enter into long positions at 100.30. The sterling dollar pivot point is at 156.50 with a preference to enter into long positions at 156.50. And the dollar CAD pivot point is at 103.10 with a preference to enter into short positions at 103.10. And looking at commodities, the oil pivot point is at 98 with a preference to enter into long positions at 98. The gold pivot point is at 1617 with a preference to enter into short positions at 1617. And the silver pivot point is at 29.45 with a preference to enter into short positions at 29.45. And of course, for up-to-date information, please visit us at easy-forex.com. On the calendar, we have the market movers are UK GDP for third quarter forecast to rise by 0.5%, US GDP for third quarter forecast to rise by 2%, and US jobless continuous claims forecast to drop to 3.6 million. Now onto equities. In Europe, they were negative, with the FTSE down 0.55%, the DAX was down 0.95%, and the CAC was down 0.82%. In the US, they were positive, with the SP 500 up 0.19%, and the Dow was up 0.03%. In Asia, at the time of writing, the Nikkei was down 0.77%, and the Hang Seng was down 0.34%. It's been your daily outlook. I'm Emma Andre from the Easy Forex Dealing Room. Have a good day.
Not only have you found a great place for Forex news, you found a great place to trade it. Registration is easy. Just click Join Now. Membership has its unique benefits, such as the freeze rate, the trade simulator, the inside viewer, and personal dealers. Your personal account manager waiting for you now.